Today we're going to be power scaling season 2. We power scaled season 1 Nick this morning, but it's now time for season 2 Nick. You're probably wondering, season 2 Nick probably isn't as strong as season 1 Nick. I mean, you guys probably are thinking he's stronger. You're probably thinking, alright, so season 2 Nick must be massively stronger. He isn't too massively stronger because he barely does anything in season 2, so let's go. Season 2 you can call the Darkness season, or the other character season, because Nick is barely in there. First, the Crystal arc. The first feat that Nick does in season 2 is that he instantly one-shots David in his true form. Base David was transcend dimensionality. True form David is infinite times stronger than that. Next, transcending dimensionality puts him at outer versal level. Plus, infinite times stronger than that puts him at outer versal plus. Base Nick one-shotting him puts Nick above that. Then Nick goes up against Crystal, who is stated to be stronger than True David by 5 times. Nick is. I'm just joking. She's stated to be stronger than him by infinite times, but she's capable to one-shotting Lucifer, who is stated to be the same strength as David. So if she can one-shot Lucifer, just imagine what she can do, you know? So Crystal one-shotted Lucifer, infinite times stronger than David, putting her outer versal plus plus. And now she's an outer versal plus plus, she fights against Nick and the others. Nick in his Harbinger of Chaos version is infinite times stronger than his base form, which is so, and he's able to keep up with her. But then she gets the 3 God tablets. Each God tablet makes her infinite times stronger. She has 3 of them. She has 3 God tablets. 3. And she easily one-claps Nick and his friends, so they have to go on a 6-month training arc. When Nick and her have their rematch 6 months later, Nick using Harbinger of Chaos and her are equivalent. Then Nick not only is equivalent to her in that form, but was actually beating her before he touched her soul for the first time and started connecting with her. But then Crystal, after her backstory was brought up and all her past trauma, she went to a rage berserker mode, which made her massively stronger than her last mode. Infinite, which made her massively stronger than her last mode. Her and Nick needed the help of his friends to reach out to her soul to defeat her in that form. So then we have in the Tournament of Sources. During the Tournament of Sources arc, Nick heavily injured fights against Nox, who is stated to be equal to Crystal by the Nick Wiki. Not only is Nox equal to Crystal, but Nick was actually doing extremely well against her base form heavily injured. Heavily injured Nick base form and doing that much damage, but instantly it means that base form Nick. Well, let's do Crystal Energy first. Crystal at full power in her base form, outer versal plus the extra infinite plus the 3 infinite increases, would put her at complex outer versal. Nick is equal to Nox, Nick heavily injured is equal to Nox, who is equal to Crystal. Then we have Thunderfang, who is stated to be Nick's strongest opponent up to that point, at that current point, and so he should be stronger than Nox. Nick fights against Red King just before this fight where Red King and him are evenly matched. With Nick in his Source Dragon form, and this is also where Nick achieves his Source Dragon form. They're evenly matched. So a heavily injured Nick is complex outer versal. So Source Dragon Nick should be high complex outer versal, if not even higher than that. And he's equivalent, and him and Red King are equivalent. And the only reason Red King won that fight was because he jumped Nick with infinite clones. If it wasn't for those clones, Nick would have won that fight no tap, no diff. Made it look easy even. That wasn't enough fight. That would have been the most easiest fight in his entire life. Well, not the easiest fight in his entire life, but he probably would have won. If it wasn't for those infinite clones, Nick was still able to tear through with absolutely zero difficulty. He could have only won. So then Nick has to fight Thunderfang with all of his friends, and all of them are extremely exhausted from their own fights. And then they have to fight Thunderfang, who is stronger than all of their opponents. They battle against him, and they're able to do a massive damage, even winning the fight altogether. So that is Season 2 Nick. He only does some stuff in Season 2, so this is everything that he does. Season 2 Nick will be in those high complex outer reversal at full power, with irrelevant speed, high complex outer reversal durability, and his 5 IQ. Oh, also Nick uses something called a Black Flash Arrow, where he makes an arrow and coats it and throws it, and it makes a Black Flash. He also uses Chaos Energy like Chaos Burst to increase his speed by a massive ton so that he can blitz Thunderfang. And also uses Chaos Control a lot in the Stardom Sources arc to get upper hands on his opponents. So yeah, that's basically everything. That's Season 2 Nick. Stay in tune because I'll be releasing Season 3 Nick's Power Scaling, which will be the end of the season. Nick Power Scaling, aka Nick the Gun Treasure Oscar vs. Ogarang LC back to scale there. Okay guys.